Hello everyone, we are here with the Porsche today so I can see if I can get this clutch working again. I've got some new parts, let's take a look at it. I have a new clutch master cylinder and a new clutch slave cylinder. Got to jack up the car to get the slave cylinder obviously, but the clutch master is up under all this crap. There's a line going down there too. I don't know if you can see it, but I've already clamped the hose. I just need to get some of this stuff out of the way so I can access it and go ahead and get this clutch master cylinder replaced and jack up the car, replace the slave cylinder and bleed it, and hopefully I'll have a clutch. So let's see what happens. Well, I got it out. It was not fun, but I got it out. I got the linkage switched over. I used my calipers for to make sure I had everything the same, and only realized after the fact that I could have just pulled this out, pushed it in that one. It just pulls out, but it's good to have stuff new. So I got that in. Time to put it back in, and I do not have a replacement hose for this, so I will have to wait. I'm trying to see if I can find one at local parts stores, but it's not having a lot of luck. That being original from '87, don't really want to use that. So and this car having air conditioning makes it a little more interesting, feeding stuff in and out, trying to get stuff off and on. So let's get this new clutch master cylinder back on and see about jacking it up to do the slave cylinder. Well, I've got the clutch master cylinder replaced, and as I was clamping on this to stop fluid from getting out, everywhere I've clamped has started to deteriorate this thing, so I need to replace that before I put this thing back together. And sadly, I do not have that hose right now, so, and I want to make sure I get the right one, so I'm probably gonna have to order it online. I've done a little bit of looking. I can't find it at local parts houses, and I have jacked up the car on the side because my jack is too tall to fit straight in the front. I'm gonna have to invest in a low profile jack. And I have replaced the clutch slave cylinder, which I believe was part of the issue, because this is stuck and is not pushing back out, and this was showing signs of leaking. So it's kind of a combination of both of them being bad. Glad I decided to replace both of them. Since system relies on two things to function properly, it doesn't make sense to just focus on one. So to make it easier to bleed the system, once I do get that hose, I'm going to leave the starter off for now, because you got to remove the starter to replace the slave cylinder, and the bleed screw is kind of up behind the starter a little bit. So to make it easier on myself, I'm gonna leave that off so I can get that hose, get it on, and then bleed the system, and then hopefully we'll have a clutch. Really looking forward to that. So this is postponing. For me, it's going to be probably a week or two, but for y'all, it'll be just a little bit. So see you in a little bit. Well, we are back with the Porsche, and I've got the proper hose, and got all my bleed stuff set up. So let's take it up. It's not the blue hose, but I do have an appropriate hose going from the brake master cylinder down to the clutch master cylinder. And I've got this Motive Products power bleeder. So I got that hooked up. I got some fluid in here up to about there. It's pretty much 1 quart of it. I've got it jacked up, as you can see. This is the only way I have to jack up the car right now, because I don't have a low profile jack. Porsche has a center spot to jack it up both sides together, so that's what I'm doing. I got jack stands under there, I got a catch bottle and a hose and everything. So let's pressurize this to about 10-15 pounds. It's from what I've read, that's what people recommend. And let's get this clutch bled and test out the clutch. Well, I hit a bit of a snag while I was trying to bleed. I had this thing pumped up to about 15 psi, or just over 15 psi. Broke the bleeder loose underneath, and it was not, the fluid was not coming out. It was not going down whatsoever. So I broke the line loose up here, and I was getting fluid from here to there. I just wasn't getting fluid from here to the bottom. So what I did, there was obviously some kind of a blockage in that line. So so I can get this clutch bled and functional, I took some of my welding wire here, got a long piece of it and stuffed it down in that line, going all the way down, made sure it poked all the way through. And then I used my Milwaukee tire inflator to kind of push whatever blockage was in there out, and then I push fresh fluid down there, and I'm getting fluid all the way through the line now. So got to get the line hooked up underneath, and then I can bleed it after I put some more fluid in the pot, because I'm pretty much out of the stuff that was in there from leaking on the ground. Not trying to, it just happened that way. I'm gonna get some paper towels and get that and get all that cleaned up. But gotta get the line hooked back up to the clutch slave cylinder, and I should be able to bleed it. So let's get to it. Well, I have a clutch pedal now. Wasn't able to test it today because I think when I had to mess with the fuel pump in the back to get it tucked back up. And I think when I did that, I think the way the wires connect to the pump, I think one of them may have gotten loose and created a poor connection. And it is currently New Year's Eve, and starting to get dark, and I'm done messing with it for today. I've got a clutch pedal and I'm happy, and I'm gonna mess with that more tomorrow. And now I got to get dinner started. We got some good food for New Year's, so I will see y'all tomorrow when I work on this thing to get the fuel pump working again now. Well, it has been a few weeks because we have had some rain, snow, and really cold temperatures, and work on this has been delayed a little bit, but I've got the fuel pump issue worked out. What the problem was actually kind of two things. The fuel pump that was installed was the wrong one. It had the fuel inlet was too small, and the hose going from the tank to the pump was the wrong one. It needed a special molded hose that goes directly from the bottom of the tank to the fuel pump, and that wasn't on here, and it has to have a real tight bend, and it was causing the hose to kink. So that was the problem with the fuel pump. But all that's worked out. I went ahead and changed out the fuel filter too, so the fuel system is all squared away. It's all good now. And I had an issue with the clutch. I probably pushed another 1.5 quart of brake fluid through it with my pressure bleeder, and actually had somebody coming over to help me. Actually, the guy that I got the car from, he lives nearby, so he was able to come by and help me bleed the clutch again just to make sure everything was good. And after I did that, I was having problems. Well, even before that, after I bled it the first time, I was having problems. I could not get it into gear with it running. So I was thinking maybe I still got air in the line. So I bled it again, still had that problem, and I was down to two things. I did some research. I was down to two things. Could have been a split clutch fork, or which I wasn't really considering, but it was still a possibility. But the other most likely thing was that the clutch itself was stuck to the flywheel. With this car had probably been sitting for probably 10-15 years at least. So this car probably hasn't been on the road since about probably I don't know, just 10 or 15 years. This car has not been on the road for sure. So that clutch was kind of fused to the flywheel. But what I did, I was able to free it up. But what I did was I put it in gear, pulled the parking brake really tight and held the brake, and then bumped the starter. And doing that kind of eventually broke the tension on the clutch and freed it up. So I put it in first and put it in reverse, put it in first, reverse, trying the different gears, and then cranking on it with the starter. But it did free up, and I was able to move it up and down right here. It was kind of annoying because it kept dying, because it doesn't like to idle. So that is where I'm going to be focusing my efforts next, is figuring out why this thing does not like to idle. So let's get the hood popped and show you a couple of my ideas on it. Okay, one thing I need to really look for first is this hose here, because the the connection right here is broken. The tube is supposed to come up and around this, and this is busted, so I'm pretty sure this is causing some issues, because I think that goes directly to the turbo, I think. That, and I've seen people have upgraded this box, this whole assembly here, so my guess is probably a combination of a few things. It's probably a combination of this not working like it's supposed to, and that I think this is the throttle position sensor, so I'm thinking that could possibly be it too, because I can crank it up and it will run, but I have to kind of feather the throttle or keep the RPMs up. So and it will eventually try to idle, but it's just, the idle is just really, really low and nowhere near where it needs to be. But I have replaced a lot of the vacuum lines up under here with some silicone vacuum lines and some brass Y connectors. I think I've replaced everything that was broken. I still want to upgrade a couple of pieces, but I think that's pretty much everything that was broken. But yep, I think that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm gonna look for another one of these. I'm gonna look for whatever upgrade piece I need for that, and I think I'm gonna do that first and then maybe replace that later. But let's see if we can get in the car and show you the clutch working. All right, here we go. I kind of got my selfie stick with my phone kind of wedged in, so hopefully it doesn't fall. But let me show you. That's what I'm talking about. It dies really easy. See the car moving a little bit? It just has a rough, really rough, low idle. So that's something else I need to fix, but y'all can see the clutch is functional and I am very happy. Well, there we have it. The clutch is now functional on the Porsche. So now to get it running better so it can actually drive. So there it is. There's gonna be the video. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next one.